What's going on, humans? It's Kyle coming at you with another video. I want to continue this little series called Dear Empaths, where I make videos directed at you, empath. Hopefully, little tips and tricks, helpful advice, perhaps pointing out blind spots that I think a lot of empaths may come across from time to time. Maybe you already know all this stuff. And perhaps this is just a little reminder, a little nudging in the right direction. But the topic for today, the thing I wanted to address today is self-care. So, dear empath, start putting more time and energy into self-care. Once again, empath, start putting more time and energy into self-care. I don't know how you feel about this, but I know a number of people see self-care as work. Like they have to do these things. That's not how you should be viewing self-care. Self-care should be filling you up, whether it's an activity that you're partaking in, or whether it's a person you're spending your time with. Whatever this thing is that you're putting your energy into, it should fill you up. And ideally, if you do enough of these things, consistently enough, and your life is more in harmony, because you're putting your time and energy into things that you love, and that fill you up and give back to you, your cup's going to be overflowing. And you're naturally going to be spilling that overflow into other people's cups and filling them up. So this is a win-win situation at the end of the day. And this is why it's so important to devote time and energy to self-care and not to view it as work. If things that you're doing as self-care are not benefiting you on a deep level, a lot of these things might take a little bit of activation energy to get into, right? You might have to get over the hump and then you feel good. If you're a physical person and you enjoy exercise, and exercise makes you feel good, sometimes you might not feel like getting to the gym. Sometimes you might not feel like putting on those running shoes. Sometimes you might not feel like doing anything. But what happens when you overcome that resistance of not wanting to go to the gym, not wanting to go for that run, not wanting to do that yoga, and then you go off and you actually do that? I think I would say 9 times out of 10 with confidence, you feel better after doing that. You feel deeply better. At that moment in time, that surface level feeling of just wanting to be comfortable and not wanting to do it. Do I really have to do this? You don't have to. But it makes you feel better afterwards. And that should be your reasoning, because you have 2 options, right? You can do something that might take a little bit of discipline, might take a little bit of energy to get over the hump, to get into the flow of that activity, and to actually do it and to partake in it. But afterwards, you feel better than you did before you did the activity, when you were dreading wanting to do that. So you might be in a position where you love doing this thing, you love putting energy into this activity or this person or whatever it may be. And it makes you feel better after the fact, after you do that, right? But you choose whatever you want. You got to pick your poison. Sometimes you might be uncomfortable in the first 5-10 minutes to what you're doing that, but afterwards you click into it, you get into the groove, you feel better, it kind of clears you out, and it fills up your cup. But if you sit where you're at, likely this option where you decided to go and do that thing that you knew is self-care for yourself, that you know makes yourself feel better, was difficult at first. You had to be a little disciplined. But after you did it, you feel better than if you just stayed at where you were at. So, whatever this may be, whatever types of self-care that you partake in, it could be creative, it could be writing, it could be playing music, it could be singing, it could be, painting, it could be stretching, it could be meditation, it could be mindfulness exercises, it could be reading, whatever it may be. Ideally, these things should not feel like work to you the majority of the time. You should enjoy and you should be excited to do them because they make you feel deeply better. Right? And you need to make more time for self-care. It's so important, especially if you're a sensitive person, especially if you're empathetic, especially if you have a tendency to take other people's baggage on, take other people's weight on, take other people's emotions on. You should also be working on that and not taking on other people's weight and baggage. But if you have this disposition, if you consider yourself an empath, then you probably are going to struggle with that. And that's okay. But you need to do things that help clear you out. You need to do things that fill you up. And when you have the right balance and the right harmony in your life, and the things you're doing are constantly filling you up, the majority of the things, obviously you're going to have to do things that aren't necessarily enjoyable. And that's okay. You're going to have obligations that you can't skip out on. But if you take time to cut out the things and perhaps wean yourself off of people and activities and things that deplete you, that block you, that aren't filling you up, and you replace those things with people that fill you up, with activities that perhaps you need to be a little disciplined to click into it, to do it, but it fills you up, and you add more and more of these things to your life, you replace the things that deplete you with the things that fill you up, and your cup naturally fills up and overflows at the brim. You're on the path. You're doing the right thing. And it's oh so important for somebody of a sensitive disposition like an empath, like an empathetic person, to be taking care of themselves. Because as an empath, you have a tendency, most likely, have a tendency to take on the weight of the world at times, to take on other people's burdens at times, to be too hard on yourself at times. And I don't want that for you. Other people don't want that for you either. Let me ask you this. Do you think other people are more excited to be around you when your cup is overflowing at the brim? And this joy and this love and this good energy is naturally flowing in to other people's cups? Or do other people enjoy it when you're depleted, when your cup isn't full? Where you're losing more of this essence, of your presence, of your love, of your joy. I think you know the answer. People love being around somebody who is overflowing at the brim. So it's a win-win situation. It is beneficial for you. It's also beneficial for all of those you are around. And whatever shape or form the self-care takes, doesn't matter. Just pay attention to how it makes you feel. If it's filling you up, if it's clearing you out of lower, denser emotions, traumas, perhaps other people's weight or baggage, perhaps the weight of the world. Does it clear you out, and does it fill you up with joy, with love, with lightness, with positivity? It's your choice. You can take your pick. You're not going to be perfect, and that's okay. As long as over the long term you're working towards that reality, towards that state. So, I hope this is a reminder to all the empaths out there. Please start putting more time and energy into self-care. And hopefully you can work towards a daily routine or a life that is filled with self-care. That benefits not only you, but all those around you, because the brim of your cup is spilling over into other people's cups. I guess I'll end it there. Wherever you're at in the world, hope you're having a lovely day. And until next time.